You're listening to the Financial Source Podcast, your daily dose of sentiment updates in the European and U.S. sessions and critical risk event previews so you stay up to date with what's moving the market right now. Each session is carefully crafted personally by the Financial Source analysts and voiced by our AI hosts who, as it turns out, sound a lot better than we do. Here's Rachel and Michael with this session's deep dive.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to give you that express ticket to understanding, well, this incredibly dynamic world we're all living in.
It really is dynamic, isn't it? You see things like a political move in Washington sending tremors through currency markets.
Exactly. Or, a strike on some distant energy facility suddenly changing what you pay at the pump.
And then there are diplomatic whispers that can just, reshape global alliances almost overnight.
It's all connected, often in ways you wouldn't expect.
And that's what we're trying to unravel here for you.
Yeah.
In this deep dive, we've gone through the latest reports, FX, commodities, trade, geopolitics, the lot.
Yep. Our mission is really to pull out those essential insights, show you those surprising connections, highlight the aha moments.
Those moments you might miss in just the day-to-day flood of news.
Right. We want to give you a quick but still thorough understanding, hopefully spark some clarity.
And leave you feeling informed, but, without feeling totally overloaded.
Get ready for some twists, too. Like how political pressure can weigh on central banks, maybe more than we think.
Or that direct, sometimes brutal, link between military conflict and oil prices.
Yeah, let's unpack all of this.
Okay, so let's kick off with currencies. The U.S. dollar, it's been in a real tug-of-war lately.
Holding steady, more or less, but yeah, after a really turbulent session, politics and the Fed getting tangled up.
And that story, it's quite something. Reports coming out that former President Trump was supposedly considering firing Fed Governor Lisa Cook.
Right, citing these mortgage fraud allegations. Now, Cook has been very clear, absolutely clear. She's not stepping down.
But just the idea of this controversy, that alone creates noise.
Definitely. And you combine that with those slightly hawkish Fed minutes hinting at maybe more rate hikes.
Yeah, it's kept the dollar index stuck in a pretty tight range.
It's this fascinating mix, isn't it? Monetary policy, political drama, all happening at once. Markets are watching very, very closely.
And it's amazing how fast that political speculation can ripple through, even if the underlying economics maybe point elsewhere.
It really makes you wonder how much noise the market can just absorb before it really bites.
Exactly. Now, switching slightly, the euro, it felt some pressure initially. Ukraine reported that huge Russian assault over 500 drones, 40 missiles.
That's a massive attack.
Huge. But then sentiment seemed to steady up a bit. We got better than expected PMI numbers from France and Germany.
Ah, the Purchasing Managers Index. So a sign of some economic resilience there.
A little bit, yeah. Shows some surprising strength, perhaps.
Okay, and looking beyond the dollar and euro, sterling seemed to do all right.
It did. Sterling outperformed, mostly thanks to stronger UK services and composite PMIs. Good numbers there.
Meanwhile, the yen slipped back a bit.
Markets just refocused on the interest rate difference of the U.S. Always comes back to that yield chase, right?
It often does, so investors are looking for the best returns.
Absolutely. And then you look down under the Antipodean currencies. They're lagging. The New Zealand dollar, it's weighed down by the Reserve Bank being pretty dovish.
And the Aussie dollar?
Still hovering near its weakest point since June. But 1 point of stability established at the Chinese central bank. They set the yuan fixing firmer than expected.
A subtle signal, but an important one.
Definitely.
So let's connect the dots. What's the ripple effect of all this currency movement for you, the listener?
Well, these aren't just numbers on a screen, are they? A strong dollar, a weak dollar.
Yeah.
It changes things.
It really does. It's not just about import prices. It can shift where investment goes, maybe away from exports towards domestic-focused companies.
Right. It underpins that broader economic stability or instability sometimes, affects trade competitiveness for businesses.
And ultimately, your own investment prospects. It's about seeing where that economic wind might be blowing next.
And this whole dance between politics, central banks, currencies, it echoes, sometimes surprisingly, into physical assets. Let's talk commodities.
Okay, the commodity quake, particularly oil, right?
Yeah, oil prices are firmer. Geopolitical risk is just front and center. You can't escape it.
And we're seeing stark examples. Those latest strikes in Ukraine hitting critical energy infrastructure, like a gas compressor station.
Plus, Ukrainian forces claim they hit Russian oil facilities overnight, too.
It directly supports crude prices. You see Brent and WTI trading higher. A very clear cause and effect, unfortunately.
It's a sharp reminder, isn't it, how vulnerable energy supplies are globally to these regional conflicts.
And it's not just the pump price. Think about supply chains, plastics, pharmaceuticals.
So many hidden dependencies. Even sectors that seem unrelated can feel the pinch from far-off conflicts.
Okay, what about metals? Gold.
Gold's kind of consolidating, just hovering above its 50-day moving average that technical level traders watch.
Cut between the dollar moves we talked about and what's coming up, Jackson Hole.
Exactly. Anticipation for the Jackson Hole Symposium. Traders are waiting for the next big signal.
And
Copper is pretty subdued as well. Also waiting for some fresh catalyst, some new direction.
So the takeaway for you listening is pretty direct with oil, isn't it? Conflict translates straight to energy prices. Travel, manufacturing, it all feels it.
Absolutely. And with gold and copper, it's less about the immediate conflict right now, more about that market anticipation. Big economic events like Jackson Hole signaling broader shifts.
Shifts in investor sentiment, the whole economic outlook.
Right. And beyond these immediate market jitters, these global forces are also reshaping how countries trade, how they interact economically.
Okay, let's shift gears then. Trade tides. China's strategic integration efforts sound interesting.
Yeah, China's commerce minister met with his Kazakh counterpart recently. They're talking about strengthening cooperation, upgrading trade, working on new formats.
And this isn't just a one-off meeting, is it? It fits into a bigger picture.
Precisely. It's part of Beijing's broader strategy, deepening partnerships, especially in emerging sectors, building resilience through regional trade integration.
They're really working to solidify those economic ties within their sphere of influence, creating more, well, self-reliant blocks, it seems.
Which raises a big question. What's the long-term impact of this for you?
Right. These moves, they don't just shift goods around. They fundamentally reshape supply chains.
Influence how economic blocks form. They can open up new market opportunities or maybe close off old ones.
Think about how things get from A to B. Which countries become more linked economically? It could affect everything from what's on the shelves to where new industries pop up years down the line.
It's a long game.
Definitely. And underneath all of this, currencies, commodities, trade is the geopolitical landscape, constantly shifting.
And directly influencing everything else. Let's look at that geopolitical grid. Hotspots and high stakes.
Starting in the Middle East, we have UN Secretary General Guterres renewing calls for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza.
Warning about mass casualties, destruction, and also urging Israel to reverse its decision on expanding West Bank settlements. Urgent appeals there.
Meanwhile, in Eastern Europe, Ukraine reported one of the largest Russian attacks yet.
A huge overnight assault. But Kiev also confirmed they successfully tested new long-range missiles. A dual development there.
And President Zelensky, he's pushing hard for security guarantees from allies. Want something concrete within 10 days.
Yeah, and notably excluding China from those talks, citing a perceived lack of support.
And what's particularly interesting, or maybe revealing, is the U.S. signaling that Europe needs to shoulder more of the security burden.
Washington playing, quote, only a minimal role. That's a significant statement.
And Turkey's position.
Reiterating that any peacekeeping framework needs a ceasefire first, which just highlights how fragile any diplomatic path is right now.
It's such a complex web of alliances and shifting responsibilities.
And just to add another layer, reports suggesting North Korea has this heavily fortified base, capable of housing new ICBMs.
Missiles that could potentially reach the U.S. mainland.
Yeah. Another major security concern simmering away. It's a reminder that tensions are high in multiple places at once.
Each with potential ripple effects.
Exactly.
So why do all these hotspots and high stakes matter to you? Well, they're not isolated events, are they?
Not at all. They hit global stability directly. They reshape international alliances.
And those ripples flow right through economies, policy decisions worldwide. It's not just abstract geopolitical chess.
No, it's about the shifting balance of power that can ultimately influence, well, everything. Defense spending, trade routes, even where future innovation happens.
Okay, let's try and quickly pull the main threads together from today.
All right. We saw central bank credibility potentially under political pressure. That was a key theme.
Crude oil prices, clearly underpinned by conflict. Very direct link.
Ukraine pushing urgently for security guarantees from allies, while the U.S. signals a shift in responsibility.
And lots of market anticipation building around that upcoming Jackson Hole symposium, waiting for signals.
Understanding how all these nuanced things connect, it really gives you an edge, doesn't it? Navigating this complex world.
It's about seeing those invisible threads, the ones tying seemingly separate events together.
So here's a final thought for you to chew on as you go about your day.
Given everything we've discussed, the political pressure on central banks, that direct link between conflict and resources like oil, the urgent push for security guarantees.
What might be the next unexpected ripple effect? The next surprise connection we see in global markets or international relations?
And maybe more importantly, how can you best prepare to understand it when it happens?
The more you watch these interconnected forces, the clearer the picture tends to become.
Hopefully making it easier to anticipate what might be around the corner. We encourage you to keep exploring.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into your sources today. We hope you feel well informed and have plenty to think about until next time.
Thanks for listening to the Financial Source podcast. If this podcast helped you at all today, would you consider leaving us a review to help spread the word? Each month, we also give away different resources and indicators just to podcast listeners. So write into Financial Source at support@financialsource.co to claim your free gift today. Talk to you all in the next episode.